The topic is Brown versus the Board of Education and Historical Black Colleges, and we're talking to Dr. AAl-Hadid. Dr. AAl-Hadid, you talked about historical black colleges being primarily under the influence of the majority population, and in a real sense these institutions have moved away from their traditional purpose in terms of the education of African Americans in almost an exclusive kind of situation, even though these institutions were never separated or segregated themselves, that for the most part they're not able to perform the kind of work that they were able to perform prior to, let us say, 1954. What can you do, what can be done in order to bring these institutions to a mission of recognizing the importance of providing cultural information and similar kinds of information for their originally intended population?
Okay. Well, I think we have to start with the definition of the problem. The problem is that HBCUs, whether in the public sector or the private sector, are literally under siege. They're under siege either by state government, in terms of state government having the instrumentality to change them into predominantly white schools, or they're under siege by the private sector in terms of your private school, because the corporation is saying, unless you generate the kind of people we want you to generate, and unless you allow us to control your schools, then we are not going to funnel money into those institutions. So they're basically under siege, whether they're in the private or the public sector. Now, how can we liberate ourselves from this form of academic and intellectual colonization? Well, what we have to realize is that when you look at an academic institution, especially a university, those universities transmit three commodities. First of all, they transmit culture. Secondly, they transmit knowledge. And third, they transmit skills. Now, historically, the HBCUs have done an excellent job in the transmittal of knowledge and skills, useful knowledge so you can get gainful employment. Where we have fallen short is that we have not canonized our own culture in the academic product that we are producing. So the first order of business is that we need to revisit the general education core curriculum and also the core curriculum within each department at the university, and make sure that we have built into the general education core curriculum knowledge about our own history and culture. In other words, the curriculum should be shaped in our image, not in the image of somebody we want to work for, but in our own image. Because the only weapon that we really have against academic colonization is culture. It was culture that allowed us to survive slavery. It was culture that allowed us to survive Reconstruction. It was culture that allowed us to survive segregation.